The Bronx River Alliance, reclaiming New York's largest freshwater ecosystem. We're just going to go over a brief introduction really quick. My name is Gina Loria. I am from the School of Liberal Arts. I'm an environmental studies major at Manhattan College, and I've been working on this project since my sophomore year.
My name is Nicolette Cruz. I am from the School of Science, majoring in environmental science, and I am a new addition to this research project.
My name is Chris Maycall. I'm a rising junior finance and economics major here, and I've been working with the River Alliance since February of this year.
My name is Grace Hessebacker. I am in the School of Engineering as a civil engineering major, and I'm also a new addition on the project.
The Bronx River has had a long history of pollution dating back to as early as the 1900s, when open trash dumping into the river was a frequent occurrence, and the river was essentially an open sewer due to poor infrastructure. Today, contamination is caused by a variety of factors, such as sewage leaks brought on by an aging sewage infrastructure, untreated sewage and stormwater, and runoff. Invasive vegetation has also had adverse impacts as they interfere with species native to the ecosystem and decrease biodiversity. Damming has also disturbed sediment flow and blocks the migration of certain kinds of fish. Additionally, the increase in impervious surfaces exacerbates the amount of untreated stormwater runoff piped into the river. All of this has led to low dissolved oxygen and bacteria levels, as well as high levels of nutrients, sediment, and fecal chloroform. To confront these issues, long-term control plans have been launched. However, these plans fail to take meaningful action against the release of raw sewage into the Bronx River. One organization attempting to mitigate these issues is the Bronx River Alliance. The BRA is an environmental organization whose aim is to reduce the contamination of the Bronx River. The base of their operations are conducted at the Bronx River House, which is the subject of this research project, and has been named the greenest building in the South Bronx. The building is meant to serve as a model of the potential of green architecture and includes a rain harvesting system and pervious surfaces which prevent further runoff into the river. The Bronx River House includes many sustainable features such as geothermal heating and cooling, photovoltaic panels, an outer layer of vines surrounding the building's exterior meant to establish a microclimate within the building and to improve air quality, as well as stormwater capture meant to divert combined sewage outflows. These technologies were carefully chosen to promote sustainable ideals and to bring the building as close to net zero energy efficiency as possible. The goal of this research project was to collect and analyze data from the property to determine if the building is operating as efficiently and sustainably as it was constructed to be. Beginning in March of 2020, Manhattan College students from 4 different areas of study collaborated on this project: environmental economics, environmental engineering, environmental science, and environmental studies. This was done purposefully as to allow for a variety of perspectives. Multiple criteria were considered for evaluating whether or not the building was operating at maximum efficiency. The building would be analyzed to see if it was reaching net zero energy efficiency due to the geothermal heating system and photovoltaic panels. Net zero energy refers to the building producing more energy than it consumes. Air quality was monitored to see if the addition of the vines improved the air quality surrounding the building. River water quality was also monitored to see general conditions and the quality of the excess water collected in the building's stormwater capture system, which is used to flush toilets, wash canoes, and be released back into the river. Students worked with Manhattan College professors and Bronx River Alliance staff to arrange weekly trips to the Bronx River House and team meetings. Solar panel energy efficiency data was collected remotely, while air and water quality data was collected in person each week. As of spring 2021, the majority of the collected data has been control data. The moss wall is not fully grown, and solar panels are still increasing in efficiency each month, so the air quality and energy data collected thus far are preliminary values to be compared to future values. As this interdisciplinary research project continues to progress, it will continue to be facilitated by Manhattan College students from the aforementioned areas of study and other areas of study. As students come and go or graduate, a new student from their major will take their place and potentially introduce their own new criteria to evaluate the River House.
The Bronx River House, located in Starlight Park, became the new home of the Bronx River Alliance staff in 2019. It has been dubbed the greenest building in the South Bronx, according to the New York Times, due to the building's many sustainable features, which include geothermal heating and cooling, solar panels, a moss wall, and stormwater capture. These technologies were carefully chosen to promote sustainable ideals and to bring the building as close as possible to net zero efficiency. The Bronx River House is approximately 7,000 square feet and includes a boathouse capable of storing approximately 30 canoes and 9 kayaks, among other boats. Crews who manage the boat trips and work to restore the rivers have facilities for showers, lockers, and equipment storage. Spaces for use by the public and schools include a 30-seat nature classroom and a 600 square foot multi-purpose room. The building has been reporting the best levels of air quality, which can be attributed to the innovative features, including an outer layer of moss. In addition, a moss wall has been incorporated to the entrance and seating area. Outdoor moss walls are still a very new building feature. Indoor moss walls are fairly popular for aesthetics, and it can involve both living and non-living mosses. Outdoor moss walls have much more flexibility than indoor moss walls in what types of mosses can be used and which water systems can be implemented. They include broom fork moss, smooth cap moss, and many kinds of other living mosses. Outdoor watering systems such as drip irrigation can be used. Outdoor moss walls, similar to green roofs, have many beneficial effects for the building and the surrounding environment. They can improve air quality, which is especially important in cities such as New York City, where air pollution is very prevalent. Moss walls also help insulate, cool, buffer noise, and protect a building's facade. The moss also helps to reduce runoff by absorbing some of the excess water. The Bronx River Alliance is currently in the process of figuring out how this can best be sustained for long-term environmental benefits. Green architecture is a term used to describe the development of city planning strategies to make urban environments more resilient to climate change. Specifically, it tends to refer to the development of stormwater management strategies meant to reduce the strain on gray infrastructure. Gray infrastructure refers to structures such as dams, seawalls, roads, pipes, or water treatment plants. Green architecture attempts to reduce runoff and divert water from sewage systems, thus preventing CSOs. Some strategies for this aim include the implementation of green roofs, permeable pavement, stormwater curb cutout, tree pits, and rain barrels. Additional rainwater harvesting systems with rain barrels or cisterns for later use, and the disconnection of roof downspouts from storm sewers may be used. Bioswales may also be implemented, which are channels designed to concrete and convey stormwater runoff while removing debris and pollution. In the Bronx River House, site stormwater is infiltrated from the ground or captured into a cistern for use for non-potable building systems and for irrigation. The outdoor program of the River House features the vine plantings for the screen wall, landscape swales with native plants, entry plantings, and 2 main public spaces. A 10,000-gallon tank was buried at the site to collect rainwater, which is used to feed the plants, flush the toilets, and to wash 24 boats kept on site. The rainwater is captured from the roof and used to perform operations such as flushing toilets and washing materials. This was meant over a total of 190,000 gallons of water per year. However, more research needs to be conducted to determine how much rainwater is actually used by the system. The stormwater capture system is not for potable water use, except for bathrooms, showers, and drinking fountains. In addition to the stormwater capture system, a screen wall made of galvanized steel and mesh wraps the entire building, providing a secure permeator and a surface for vines to grow. The seasonal vines create a favorable microclimate, transpiring water collected by the roof during hot months to significantly lower the air temperature and the building envelope. The Bronx River House received the 2008 design by the Art Commission in New York City. The structure also meets the requirements for a LEED Platinum certification. Notable features of the Bronx River House include the community multipurpose room, boathouse, and a nature classroom. In the community multipurpose room, local groups and citizen scientists can share information and collaborate about the river. This gathering place for local experts, academics, and government officials help us to advance a common vision for reclaiming New York City's only freshwater river. The boathouse also serves as a wet classroom, enabling small groups of citizens and citizen scientists to bring in samples from the river, as well as prepare and clean equipment. The boat plaza does double duty as a yard for hauling boats and as an accessory event plaza of a tinted concrete for a lively pattern of permeable pavers. The river terrace, a garden plaza with native plants, a custom bench, and light-colored pavers on a permeable base, is framed by the building's screen wall and by a low retaining wall of boulders and gabions that evoke the building's riverbank stabilization. The nature classroom is well designed and outfitted to promote student collaboration, engagement, and student-led learning. With water quality monitoring equipment and high-tech AV learning tools, students can review concepts like dissolving oxygen and pH before going out onto the river and making observations in nature. These are only several of the many features of the newly built Bronx River House.
Net zero emissions, the Bronx River House has its own photovoltaic system. It is home to 210 south-facing solar panels, 4 large solar inverters, and 1 small solar inverter. In addition to producing electricity, the purpose of this system is to determine the economic feasibility of future solar developments in the Bronx and New York City. The total cost of the system was $342,904. Over 57% of costs were from installation, 38% were from the solar panels themselves, and less than 5% were from the solar inverters. Its break-even point is 15.35 years, and we expect this to continue to decline as technological advancements lower the costs of installation, solar inverters, and the solar panels themselves. Collecting and analyzing monthly solar panel data since March 2021. The median monthly production is 8,867 kilowatt hours, which translates to approximately $1,869 in monthly savings. Our annual production estimate is 106,408 kilowatt hours, which translates to approximately $22,345 in annual savings. This system saves approximately 75.44 metric tons of CO2 from being pumped into our atmosphere daily. As you can see from the graph on the left, energy production fluctuates considerably. Fluctuations are typically due to cloud cover and precipitation. On average, the photovoltaic system generates nearly 300 kilowatts of electricity per day. The Bronx River House is also home to a geothermal system. This system lowers heating and cooling costs by taking advantage of the Earth's constant subterranean temperature. During summer months, hot air is pumped into the ground and cooled before entering the building's air conditioning system. Conversely, during winter months, cold air is pumped into the ground and warmed before entering the building's heating system. This system reduces the building's overall energy consumption and carbon emissions.
Air quality can be measured by concentrations of specific pollutants in the air. The Environmental Protection Agency determines this using the Air Quality Index, or AQI. Running from 0 to 500, the higher the value, the worse the air quality is in that particular place. Values of 100 or lower are considered to be satisfactory. Values from 101 to 150 are unhealthy for sensitive groups, and values 150 and above range from unhealthy for all to hazardous. The AQI was established for 5 major pollutants that have a national standard set by the EPA to protect public health. The 5 pollutants are ground level ozone, particulate pollution, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen dioxide. These have all been regulated by the Clean Air Act. Ground level ozone is a highly irritating gas formed when nitrogen oxides react with volatile organic compounds. Breathing it in can cause chest pain, coughing, throat irritation, and congestion, as well as worsening underlying health conditions such as asthma. Small particulates in the air can come from many sources, such as construction sites, smokestacks, and ash from fires. Particles between 1 and 5 microns can settle to the bottom of the lungs, getting into your bloodstream, and can have very detrimental health effects. Carbon monoxide, as an outdoor pollutant, is mostly released by vehicles and machinery that burn fossil fuels. Very high levels are not likely to be found outdoors since the area is not enclosed. However, high levels outdoors can be harmful to people with underlying conditions such as heart disease. Sulfur dioxide air pollution comes from burning of coal and oil in power plants, as well as trains, ships, and diesel equipment that use high sulfur content fuel. It can cause a variety of harmful, sometimes life-threatening, short-term and long-term respiratory health effects. Long-term health effects include changes in lung function, decreased fertility, loss of smell, headaches, dizziness, nausea, vomiting, bronchitis, as well as shortness of breath. Nitrogen dioxide is released into the air by burning fuel. It forms from emissions from vehicles, equipment, and power plants. Like sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide is a respiratory irritant and can be life-threatening. Short-term exposure can especially cause harm to those with underlying lung diseases and asthmatics. Long-term side effects from exposure to nitrogen dioxide can include the development of asthma, increased change of respiratory infection, as well as other breathing problems. Nitrogen dioxide and sulfur dioxide also contribute to the formation of particulate matter, ozone, and acid rain, which adds to nutrient pollution in water. Data for these parameters has been collected using the Tembu air quality monitors and have been recorded on a weekly basis. Air quality results will be compared over time and to preliminary data when the vines on the exterior of the building were not there versus when they have grown. Data trends will show whether or not this feature is a sustainable and beneficial way to cut down on air pollution in cities. Data has been collected on the southern and western sides of the building as well as the side facing the street. Over time, air pollution surrounding the building has been increasing according to our data. This may be due to a variety of factors. One reason may be to the fact that as society has been reopening in the wake of the global pandemic, traffic surrounding the building has increased. This may also be due to the implications of increased wildfires due to climate change, increasing particulate matter, and overall air quality.
Pollutants in the Bronx River are floatable trash, fecal pathogens, and low dissolved oxygen. Out of these three, we've tested for low dissolved oxygen. Additionally, nitrates, a harmful nutrient, have been monitored in general water quality data such as temperature, pH, conductivity, and turbidity has been collected. Nitrates in particular are very important to monitor because they cause algal growth, harmful algal blooms, and depleted dissolved oxygen levels. It's important that dissolved oxygen does not drop below 6, or the aquatic ecosystem is harmed. Water samples have been collected at the site location at 2 different points of the river upstream and downstream. As of now, no definitive conclusions may be made on the building's impact on surrounding water quality as data is preliminary. However, more conclusive statements may be made as more information is accumulated. All the water samples that were taken were normally taken from the edge of a dock using the bank bottle method. With the data that has been collected thus far, it can be determined that pH, turbidity, temperature, nitrate are all normal or good levels, with average levels being tested 7 at or below 10 ATU, 5 to 25 degrees Celsius, and 10 parts per million respectively, and the river's levels being 7.9, 6.8 NTU, 15.02 degrees Celsius, and 1.66 parts per million respectively. Dissolved oxygen levels are okay, but do need to be raised as an average dissolved oxygen level is 6. It is on the border of harming the river's ecosystem since the river's average level is 6.93. Even though not all factors of the river water is up to a perfect standard, it can be determined that the river is becoming cleaner since wildlife is starting to return and populate the river, such as oysters, blue crabs, eels, and even beavers, which haven't been spotted in the area in around 200 years as shown in the images below. It is also planned to test the water in the cistern that is a part of the Bronx River House more consistently to see if any of the levels of things that are currently being tested for could also be affecting the river's water quality. The goal of the Bronx River House is to improve the surrounding air and water quality and to serve as a prototype for what urban sustainable architecture might look like in the future. As more data is collected, a more comprehensive picture of how functional and practical the building's sustainable features are, as well as whether or not they may be implemented throughout other urban buildings, will be gained. As this project continues, students from various academic disciplines will be engaged in analyzing the building's efficiency to gain a better understanding of the possibilities sustainable architecture might hold.